As you know, we live in a world where we've been spoon-fed. We've all been fed the idea of God, the universe, or some higher power in a way that keeps us in a box. They want us to think small and believe in a version of God that keeps us comfortable and prevents us from asking the hard questions. But here's the thing, the top 1%, those who truly understand the nature of reality and wield power that seems almost supernatural. We've all been led to believe in a certain idea of God, the universe, or some higher power, and it's kept us in a box. They want us to think small and believe in a version of God that keeps us comfortable and away from asking the hard questions. But here's the thing, the top 1%, those who truly understand the nature of reality and wield power that seems almost supernatural, know something about God that most people don't. And when I say God, I'm not talking about some distant figure sitting in the clouds. I'm talking about the real force behind all creation, something far more profound than we've been led to believe. Have you ever wondered why certain people seem to just get it? Why can they manifest things out of thin air? Of thin air? Why does reality seem to bend around their will? It's not luck, that it's not a coincidence that they've tapped into a secret about God that allows them to manipulate reality itself. You might think that sounds crazy, but it's not, that it's the truth, and once you understand it, your whole concept of God and life will change forever. We've been conditioned. We've all been taught to think of God as something outside of ourselves. But what if I told you the real God is within you? I'm not talking about some poetic, metaphorical idea. I'm talking about the force that creates worlds and shapes galaxies. That same force is inside your mind, your thoughts, and your emotions. The real God isn't up there. He's in here. And the top 1%? The top 1% know this. They don't pray to some external being, hoping for a miracle. They create miracles. They understand that the power of God is the power of consciousness. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you questioned your idea of God? I mean, really questioned it. Not in a church, not in a temple, but in your own mind. Most of us are too scared. We've been taught that questioning God is dangerous, but that's exactly what keeps you from discovering the truth. The real danger is in not questioning. The real danger is in accepting the version of God that keeps you small and separated from the infinite power within you. The top 1% know that God. We've all been taught to think that questioning God is dangerous, but that's actually the key to discovering the truth. The real danger is in not questioning. The real danger is in accepting the version of God that makes you feel small and separated from the infinite power within you. The top 1% know that God isn't there to be worshipped. God is there to be used. And that's where most people get it wrong. They think spirituality is about submission, about following rules, about hoping for salvation. But the elite know that God is a tool, a force to be directed. And they've been using this knowledge for centuries to gain power, wealth, and influence. They don't talk about it because if everyone knew what they knew, the whole system would fall apart. Governments, religions, corporations, they all rely on keeping people in the dark about the true nature of God. Here's the kicker, you don't have to be born into the top 1% to access this power. It's not something reserved for the elite. It's available to anyone who knows how to use it. But here's the thing, are you ready to see the truth? Are you ready to stop worshipping a God that's been designed to keep you weak and start harnessing the force that can make you unstoppable? You see, the real God is not some personal being with human emotions. The real God is energy. It's the force that flows through everything. So, here's the deal, most people don't really know how to use it. But are you ready to see the truth? Are you ready to stop worshipping a God that's been designed to keep you weak and start harnessing the force that can make you unstoppable? The real God isn't some personal being with human emotions. The real God is energy. It's the force that flows through everything, through you, through me, through the entire universe. And this energy responds to your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs. The top 1% understand that reality itself is a mental construct, and by controlling their minds, they control their reality. They don't let life happen to them, they make life happen. Now, Here's where it gets really interesting. Here's where it gets really interesting. Most people think you need to be spiritual to meditate for hours or go on some long pilgrimage to connect with God. But the top 1% know that connection is instantaneous. It's about alignment. It's about understanding that your thoughts are the most powerful force in the universe. You don't have to wait for God to act. You are. Most people think you need to be spiritual to meditate for hours or go on a long pilgrimage to connect with God. But the top 1% know that connection is instantaneous. It's about alignment, it's about understanding that your thoughts are the most powerful force in the universe. You don't have to wait for God to act. You are God acting. Every thought you think is a command to the universe. But only a few realize this. So, I'll ask you what's keeping you from realizing it. Let me tell you something, the real secret isn't just knowing that God is within you. It's understanding the mechanism of how this divine power works through you. And this is where the top 1% really separate. God acts. Everything you think is like a command to the universe. But not many people realize this. So, I'll ask you, what's stopping you from realizing it? Let me tell you something, the real secret isn't just knowing that God is within you. It's understanding how this divine power works through you. And this is where the top 1% really separates themselves from everyone else. They don't just know they have this power, they know how to use it. You've probably heard the phrase, thoughts become things, but do you really understand what that means? It's not just some motivational fluff. It's literal. Your thoughts are constantly shaping your reality, whether you know it or not. But here's the catch, most people have thoughts that keep them stuck in the same rut, repeating the same patterns. The top 1% think differently. They understand that every thought creates a ripple in the fabric of reality. It's like dropping a stone in a pond, the ripples flow outward, creating effects you can't even see, but here's what they really know, the ripples from one thought spread instantly, and even if you don't notice the shift right away, it's happening. The more in sync you are with the idea that you're God, the faster that shift happens. That's why some people can manifest things seemingly overnight, while others struggle for years. It's not about luck, it's about being in sync. So, how do you align with this power? How do you start thinking like the top 1%? It's simple, but not easy. You have to start treating every thought like a command to the universe. Most people let their thoughts run wild, reacting to whatever happens around them. But the elite don't react, they create. They control their thoughts with laser. So, how do you align yourself with this power? How do you start thinking like the top 1%? It's simple, but not easy. You have to start treating every thought like a command to the universe. Most people let their thoughts run wild, reacting to whatever happens around them. But the elite don't react. They create. They control their thoughts with laser-like focus because they know every thought is an order to the divine energy that shapes reality. Think about this, when was the last time you really paid attention to your thoughts? Not just the big ones, but the small ones, the ones that seem insignificant. Because those small thoughts are shaping your life just as much as the big ones. The top 1% know that mastery over their thoughts is mastery over reality. And that's where the real secret lies. It's not about praying harder or meditating for hours. It's about mastering your mind, because once you do that, reality will bend to your will. But here's the part that most people miss, you can't just think positive thoughts and expect everything to change. You have to believe it and feel it. The top 1% know that emotion is the fuel that powers thought. If you're thinking one thing but feeling another, you're sending mixed signals to the universe. And the universe responds to the strongest signal. So if you're thinking abundance but feeling fear, guess what? You're going to get more scared. The top 1% don't just think rich, they feel rich. They don't just think they're powerful, they actually feel it. And that's the key. So ask yourself, how are you feeling right now? This is where we get into the final, most powerful part of the secret. It's not enough to know that God is within you. It's not enough to understand how your thoughts shape reality. The top 1% have mastered something even deeper, they've mastered the art of detachment. Now, that might sound strange. Why would you detach if you want to create your reality? Isn't the whole point to focus on what you want? Yes, but here's the twist, the more you push something away, the more it seems to come to you. The top 1% know that the key to making your dreams come true is to want them but not need them. They've mastered the art of letting go. They know that when you're desperate for something, you're operating from a place of lack. And lack only creates more lack. Here's the paradox, the more you can let go, the more you can create. The top 1% don't cling to outcomes. They set their intentions, they focus their thoughts and emotions, but then they let it go. They trust that the universe will deliver, and it always does. Does it? When you let go, you're basically telling the universe that you've already got it. You're showing that you're open to abundance, not scarcity. And abundance attracts abundance. Think about it. How many times have you wanted something so badly, only to see it slip through your fingers? That's because the more you hold on, the more you block the flow. The top 1% get that the real power of God within us is a power of flow. It's a power that works best when we let go of control because, in reality, control is an illusion. The top 1% don't control reality. They flow with it. You should know that they're part of the same energy that creates worlds. That energy doesn't need to be controlled, it just needs to be harnessed. When you let go and trust in the power within you, that's when the real magic happens. So, I'll leave you with this final question, are you ready to let go? Are you ready to stop forcing your reality and start flowing with it? Because the moment you do, you'll realize that the top 1% aren't special. They've just learned the secret that's been inside you all along. It's time for you to tap into it. Here's most people spend their whole lives seeking things like happiness, success, love, and God. But what if I told you that the top 1% don't seek anymore? They've moved on to a state of knowing. That's the shift that changes everything. When you're seeking something, you believe it's missing. You're always looking for something outside of yourself to fill the void. But the top 1% has realized that everything they've been seeking was inside them all along. They've stopped chasing and searching. Instead, they've realized that they're already everything they want to be. Think about it. If you knew deep down that you were already connected to all the abundance, love, and power in the universe, how would you act differently? Would you still chase things, or would you start attracting them effortlessly because you know they're already yours? This is what the top 1% know about the real God. There's nothing to seek because you're already connected to everything you desire. The real God isn't some external force you have to search for. The real God is the energy that flows through every single one of your cells, the consciousness that creates your thoughts, the force that beats your heart. And once you realize that, once you know it, everything changes. You stop living in fear. Fear can only exist in a state of separation, a state where you believe you're disconnected from what you want. But the moment you step into knowing, fear disappears. The top 1% don't live in fear because they've realized there's nothing to fear. They know they're the ones creating their own reality. They know that the real God is the consciousness that flows through them, and that means they have access to unlimited power. So why are so many people still living in fear? Why do they feel disconnected? It's because they've been conditioned to believe in a version of God that keeps them small, a version of God that's separate from them, distant, unreachable. But the top 1% know that this version of God is a lie. The real God is the force that's flowing through your mind, your heart, your soul. And once you know that, once you stop seeking, and start being unstoppable. But here's the real question, are you ready to stop seeking? Are you ready to step into the knowing that you already have everything you need right here, right now? Because that's the shift that will take you from living like the 99% to living like the 1%. The top 1% don't wait for permission. They don't wait for a sign from the universe. They don't wait for things to fall into place. They know that they are the sign. They are the permission. They are the force that makes things fall into place. And that's the mindset if you want to access the same power, you've got to cultivate it. The real God doesn't give you things, the real God gives you the ability to create things. Most people don't understand this. They pray for things to happen, beg for miracles, and hope for change. But the top 1% doesn't hope. They know. They know that they are the miracle and the change. Once you truly understand this and embody that knowing, you'll stop waiting for life to happen to you and start making life happen on your terms. So here's the challenge: stop seeking, waiting, and hoping. Start knowing and acting like you already have the power, because you do. Start creating your reality because you can. The top 1% know that they are creators, not victims. They know that their thoughts, emotions, and actions are the tools they use to shape their world. The moment you step into that same knowing, the moment you stop looking for God and start realizing that you are the embodiment of God's power, you'll start to see miracles happen in your life. But here's the thing: this shift doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice, awareness, and a commitment to retraining your mind to think and feel in alignment with the truth of who you are. Most people get stuck because they want instant results and want the universe to hand them everything on a silver platter. The top 1% know that real power comes from mastery, mastery over your mind, mastery over your emotions, and mastery over your energy. You need to start mastering the art of knowing. You need to start training yourself to think, feel, and act like the creator that you are. The more you do that, the more your reality will change. You'll see the power of God working through you. You'll realize that the only thing holding you back is the belief that you're separate from that power. So, I'll ask you again. Are you ready to stop seeking and start knowing? It's time to break it down to the core, to the most profound truth that the top 1% live by: you or the divine in action. This isn't just spiritual fluff, it's the real deal. The top 1% don't just believe in God, they know that they are God. Hey, let's cut to the chase and get real here. I know this might sound a bit wild, but stick with me. It's time to spill the beans on a truth that's been hidden from the public for ages. When you hear that you're God, it's not like you're the whole universe in a nutshell, like we've been taught. It's more like you're a unique part of the divine force that creates everything. You're like the universe in human form. The same power that makes stars, galaxies, and entire realities is flowing through you right now. The top 1% get it. At its core, this means they don't see themselves as separate from the divine. They don't see God as something separate. They see themselves as part of the divine tapestry of existence, intricately woven into the fabric of reality itself. Because of this, they know they have the power to shape that reality. The real God doesn't create from a place of need or lack. The real God creates from a place of abundance. That's how you need to start seeing yourself. You're not here to beg for scraps from the universe. You're here to create, to expand, to express. You've got infinite potential inside you. When you start living from that place, everything changes. You stop seeing obstacles as problems and see them as chances to grow. You stop fearing failure and start embracing it as part of the creative process. You stop waiting for outside validation and start trusting your own inner guidance, knowing that the divine is speaking through you. This is the last revelation: you are the divine in action. You are the creator of your reality, and the only limits that exist are the ones you create. You've got infinite potential inside you. When you start living from this place, everything changes. You stop seeing obstacles as problems and start seeing them as opportunities for growth. You stop fearing failure and start embracing it as part of the process of creation. You stop waiting for external validation and start trusting your own inner guidance, knowing that the divine is speaking through you. This is the final revelation: you are the divine in action. You are the creator of your reality, and the only limits that exist are the ones you place on yourself. The top 1% live without limits because they know that they are the ones who set the rules. They are the ones who decide what's possible. And so are you. So I'll ask you one last time, are you ready to stop living like you're separate from God and start living like you? Are you ready to live like God is in action? Because the moment you make that shift, the moment you step into that truth, you'll realize that the top 1% don't have any special powers. They've just unlocked the power that's been inside them all along, and now it's your turn to do the same. Now that we've touched on now that we've talked about the deepest truth that you are the divine in action, let's explore how the top 1% use this understanding to actively shape their reality. One of the most powerful tools they use is belief. You see, belief isn't just a thought you hold in your mind. It's a force that bends reality around you. The top 1% understand that belief is the key to unlocking the power of God within and directing it in whatever way they choose. They don't just believe in their success, their power, or their vision, they know it's already theirs. So what makes belief so powerful? It's simple, your beliefs. Your beliefs are like a blueprint for your life. They're basically instructions you're giving to the universe, your subconscious mind, and that energy that flows through you. The top 1% get that the universe is always responding to what they believe. If they think they're unstoppable, then they are. If they feel they deserve success and abundance, then they attract it. The universe doesn't argue with your beliefs, it just reflects them back to you. Here's where it gets interesting. Most people think they believe in success, wealth, or happiness, but deep down, they have conflicting beliefs. Beliefs that get in the way of what you really want. For example, you might say you believe in abundance, but if deep down you feel unworthy or afraid of failure, those beliefs will mess up your efforts. The top 1% have learned how to get their beliefs in line with what they want. They've trained themselves to get rid of any beliefs that don't match their goals, so their conscious and subconscious minds are in sync with their goals. So, how do you start to get your beliefs in line with the reality you want to create? First, you have to find out what beliefs are holding you back. What stories are you telling yourself? What beliefs about yourself or the world are holding you back? Maybe you think success is hard, or that you don't deserve happiness, or that money is scarce. These beliefs are like chains, keeping you from tapping into your inner power. Once you've identified these limiting beliefs, the next step is to swap them out for beliefs that will actually help you. This isn't about wishful thinking or repeating empty affirmations. It's about reprogramming your mind at the deepest level. The top 1% use techniques like visualization, meditation, and self-hypnosis can help you develop new beliefs that actually line up with your goals. It's not just about telling yourself you're powerful, you actually feel it. It's not just about thinking about abundance, you live as if you already have it. And that's the key to living your belief. It's not enough to just think or talk about it, you have to embody it. You have to act as if the thing you desire is already yours. Because here's the truth, belief without action is useless. Belief without action is meaningless. The top 1% don't just sit around believing in success, they take action every single day that reinforces their belief. They move through the world with the confidence that comes from knowing that the universe is conspiring in their favor. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. But what if I believe something and it doesn't happen? This is where most people get stuck. They try to believe in something, but when they don't see immediate results, they get discouraged. But the top 1% understand that reality doesn't always shift instantly. It takes time for the universe to rearrange itself around your beliefs. If you've been holding on to some limiting beliefs for a while, then patience is key. The universe is always working behind the scenes, even when you don't see it. So, let me ask you, what do you believe about yourself, your potential, and your power? Whatever you believe, you're creating it. If you've been holding on to some limiting beliefs for a while, patience is key. The universe is always working behind the scenes, even when you don't see it. So, let me ask you, what do you believe about yourself? About your potential? About your power? Whatever you believe, that's what you're creating. If you want to change your reality, you have to start by changing your beliefs. And that's not something that happens overnight. It's a process of consistent daily work. One of the most misunderstood aspects of spiritual power is the importance of consistency. The top 1% know that success, both in the material and spiritual realms. It's not about occasional inspiration or effort. It's about showing up every day and committing to the process, no matter how long it takes. You see, the universe rewards persistence. Most people give up too soon. They try something for a week, a month, maybe even a few months, and when they don't. It's not about sporadic bursts of inspiration or occasional effort. It's about showing up every single day, committing to the process no matter how long it takes. You see, the universe rewards persistence. Most people give up too soon. They try something for a week, a month, maybe even a few months, and when they don't see the results they want, they throw in the towel. But the top 1% keep going, even when it looks like nothing is happening. They understand that every action, every thought, every belief is planting a seed. And while some seeds sprout quickly, others take time, but they know that as long as they keep watering those seeds, they'll eventually bear fruit. Being consistent is key to mastering your mindset, your beliefs, and your energy. The top 1% don't just meditate or visualize when they feel like it, they do it every day. They don't just focus on their goals when they're motivated, they work on them even when they don't feel like it. They get that mastery doesn't come from occasional effort. It comes from dedication. Think about it this way: if you were to plant a garden, you wouldn't expect the flowers to bloom overnight, right? You'd understand that you need to water the seeds, tend to the soil, and give them time to grow. But in our fast-paced world, that's not enough. They get that mastery doesn't come from random effort. It comes from dedication. Think about it: if you were to plant a garden, you wouldn't expect the flowers to bloom overnight, right? You'd understand that you need to water, tend to the soil, and give them time to grow. But in our fast-paced world, we've been conditioned to expect instant results. We want everything now, and when it doesn't happen, we get frustrated and give up. But the top 1% know that the divine process requires time. And here's the magic of consistency: the more consistent you are, the more you build momentum. At first, it might feel like nothing is happening. You're doing the work, but you're not seeing the results. But as you keep going, as you keep believing, it's like rolling a snowball down a hill. At first it's small, but as it keeps rolling, it gains more and more mass until it becomes a force that's impossible to stop. This is why the top 1% never stop. They know that every day they put in the work, they're adding to their momentum, and eventually, that momentum becomes so powerful that nothing can stand in their way. As you keep taking action, you'll start building unstoppable energy. It's like rolling a snowball down a hill. At first, it's small, but as it keeps rolling, it gains more and more mass until it becomes a force that's impossible to stop. This is why the top 1% never stop. They know that every day they put in the work is adding to their momentum, and eventually, that momentum becomes so powerful that nothing can stand in their way. But it all starts with consistency. The universe isn't interested in what you do sometimes. It's interested in what you do every day. So how can you start building consistency in your life? It's simple. Start small. You don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. Just pick one thing, one habit, one belief, one action, and commit to doing it every day. Maybe it's meditating for 5 minutes, or visualizing your goals before bed, or writing. The key is consistency. The universe isn't interested in what you do sometimes, it's interested in what you do every day. So, how can you start building consistency in your life? It's simple: start small. You don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. Just pick one thing, one habit, one belief, or one action, and commit to doing it every day. Maybe it's meditating for 5 minutes, or visualizing your goals before bed, or writing down 3 things you're grateful for each morning. Whatever it is, start small and build from there. The top 1% didn't become masters overnight. They started just like you, one step at a time. Now, here's the final question: are you willing to be consistent? Are you willing to show up every day, even when it feels like nothing is happening? Because that's the secret that separates the top 1% from everyone else. They don't stop, and neither should you.